Hello and welcome to a short tutorial on how to improve an image for laser etching. I'm going to do a Google image search for birds. With a general search like this, I don't get very good results. Most of these images are too detailed, too colorful, and too problematic for laser etching. This image is simple enough that we may be able to etch it. We could remove the white background and change it a little bit to make it better. But most of these with the colorful backgrounds won't work. So I'm going to click on Tools, I'll click on Color and choose Transparent. This will give me a transparent background. Then I can click on Type and choose Clip Art or possibly Line Drawing. Clip Art gave me very colorful results, so I'm going to try line drawing instead. Now these images are much simpler and would probably work well. This is a nice image. It has some detail but not a lot, and a transparent background. So I can right-click on it and choose Save Image As, and when I do that, I notice that it's going to be saving as a PNG. Take note of what type of file it is because that will affect how things work in Corel later. Give it a good name and save it to your desktop. Now let's find another example real quick because different image types have different reactions. So I've also got this image. It looks transparent, and when I save image as, it turns out to be a JPEG image. So it will have a different reaction in Corel than the PNG that we just saved. Again, I'm going to give it a good name and save it to my desktop, and then look for one more image. This time, something a little more complicated and colorful. I'm going to use the Iowa Hawkeyes because I'm from Iowa. Some of the logos I find are a little inappropriate for etching. Most of them, though, actually aren't bad. They're not too complicated. I might have to do a few things to them. So let's get this one that looks like the state of Iowa and has the Hawkeye logo on it. So I save it to my desktop, and it's another JPEG, so that, again, that will have different impacts on Corel. I'll open up Corel. Here I have two boxes that represent the sides of my birdhouse, and I'm going to File, Import, and then choose one of the images from my desktop. Remember, you only get to use one image on your birdhouse. So this is the first one, the PNG, and you'll notice that when I drag it around, it looks like a box around it. So that means it's not a transparent background. I would actually have the white etched as well. So with the image selected, I click on Trace Bitmap and then Quick Trace. You'll see that now when I drag it around, it is all outlined on the object itself. So that means the background has been erased. So I can move it back into the spot, delete the original, and now that's a good image to etch because it will only etch the lines that you see on the screen. So let's do a more complicated image. I go to File, Import, and I'll select the second image, the JPEG of the bird that I chose. Because this is a JPEG, the Quick Trace option may not work very well, but let's see what happens. It turns the image mostly black. That's not what we want. So I'll undo that, and I'll go back and select the image, click on Trace Bitmap, and this time I'll choose the Center Line Trace option and choose Line Drawing. The line drawing option did not turn out as well as I thought it would. All the lines are very thin. It would work for an etching, but I think I'm going to try one more option. I'm going to go to the Outline Trace and choose High Quality Image instead. So when it finishes processing, the lines are much thicker and it's much nicer looking. I think this is going to etch well. Now in the settings under Options, you want to make sure that Delete the original image and Remove Background are checked. Removing the background gives you that transparency that we want, and deleting the original image means that you won't accidentally be etching your transparent image over an image that's already there. Notice that now when I drag the image, you see the lines as I drag it, not a box. If you need to change the size of your image, do not use the handles on the top or bottom or sides. Use the corner handles because when you use the sides or the top or the bottom, you end up squishing the image and changing the perspective. So you only use the corners and drag diagonally because then the image will stay in the correct scale and perspective. Now for our final example, the logo, I go to the File menu, Import again, and bring in that final image. Now for this image, we definitely want to get rid of the black background. And actually, I think I want to get rid of anything black in this at all and just have it etch the state. So this time I'm going to use Trace Bitmap, and I'll make sure that Delete Original Image and Remove Background are both selected. And then I'll click OK. Now you can see when I move the image, the outline of the image is being moved as well. It's not that square white background again. So it's printable now, and the yellow would print a little bit less deep than the black, but I want to actually just have the yellow print. So I'm right-clicking on it and choosing Ungroup Objects. This is a technique that you can use on almost any image to be able to separate the pieces that are already there. So you can see now that I can drag things around. The only thing wrong with this is the O, the yellow center, has stayed where it is. So I'm going to actually delete out the black things one at a time, and then I can regroup the image and have it as just the yellow pieces that I want. This will save a lot of time on the laser. Printing both the black and the yellow would take longer than just printing the yellow alone. And this way, the yellow parts are what's etched and the white parts aren't. When I'm finished, I draw an imaginary box around all the pieces so that I select them all. I right-click and then choose Regroup Objects. Now I can move it around as one thing rather than moving each piece individually. These are just some options for improving an image for laser etching. Please feel free to experiment and try different things. Thanks for watching.